Hi, Steve, not an anxiety specialist here. One of the reasons why people who have anxiety don't actually get rid of it or they don't seek help for it is because deep down they believe that it is a protection device. And they believe that if they actually get rid of it, they'll be leaving themselves more vulnerable. Let me explain what I mean by that. Some people think that if they don't think of all these worst case scenarios, all the what ifs, all the things that, yes, but this could happen, that could happen. They believe that if they don't have those things lined up in their mind, that they're going to leave themselves open to these very things. And that at some level, anxiety is protecting them. And that's very common. So let's have a look at the logic of that though. So one of the things that happens when you're anxious is that it sends adrenaline and cortisol into your body. And what that does, it takes the resources from your mind and switches it into your body. So actually your mind is less able to concentrate. Your mind actually functions worse as the resources are pulled from the thinking into the body. So actually you're going to be less able to cope if a problem occurs. And the other thing is, when you're in a high anxiety state, every little thing seems like an absolute mountain. Every little thing seems like it's going to take you over the edge. So the idea that you're actually coping better by thinking about what could go wrong is completely the opposite. What you're really doing is rehearsing problems. You're actually rehearsing your next problem mentally, going over and over with it. What you're actually doing is planning to have a problem. In the same way you rehearse any instrument, the more you rehearse it, you get good at playing it. And the same thing applies with anxiety. The more you think about what you don't want to happen, the more you're actually rehearsing that very event to happen. So let's look at the other side of the coin. And so the idea that people who don't have anxiety are more vulnerable because they're not thinking about the possible worst case scenarios. Well, if something happens to someone who isn't anxious, they just deal with it at the time. And they already have the resources built in because they're not in a high anxiety state. That means their brain's working right and they're able to use common sense to fix the problem. So when was the last time someone said, right, we've got a problem, let's go and find someone with high anxiety to fix it? Never. And the reason why is because when you're in an anxious state, you're at your worst. You are unable to think clearly. You have brain fog. On top of that, you've probably got insomnia. On top of that, you're absolutely exhausted. And the worst thing about anxiety is that the mind doesn't understand the difference between what's real and what you're imagining. So every time you imagine a little thing going wrong in your life, you're actually having that trauma every day. Even though it's not actually happening in reality, you're putting your body and your mind through that trauma every single day for no reason. It's like calling the fire brigade out 10 times a day, and every time they turn up, there actually isn't a fire. You just imagined it. So the idea that anxiety is protecting you, when you actually look at it logically, it's absolutely the opposite. And what it really is, it's just a habit. It's a habit that you've got into, that you've been running now for quite a while, and it seems quite comfortable, even though it's uncomfortable. But you've probably never actually sat down and thought about it logically, at your reasons for doing it. So you're left with a habit that doing by yourself is quite hard to break. But that's what I do in my office every single day and with my online program. So if you want to break free from the habit of anxiety, and you want to break free from thinking that anxiety is protecting you, get in touch and we'll get you started on the program, and we can change this way of thinking and get your life back and take you to a happier place. So have a brilliant day, and we'll speak soon. Bye for now.